All right, so you know how sometimes you're driving along in your EV, maybe windows down and enjoying the Arizona scenery,
Mhm.
sun's out,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden you see that little battery warning light pop up,
Yeah.
and it kind of throws you off.
Oh, yeah.
That feeling you get, is that something that EV drivers here in Arizona experience more often than not?
Oh, absolutely. That feeling is something that most EV drivers know. It's that range anxiety and Arizona's unique geography, the vast distances between cities,
Yeah.
the remote areas, the intense heat, all of those things can really impact your battery performance. So it definitely can be a bigger issue here in Arizona.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the Grand Canyon, you've got those long stretches
Yeah.
between Phoenix and Tucson,
Right.
and not a lot of places to stop and charge.
Yeah, and that's the irony of it all, right? Arizona is so beautiful. It's so great for road trips.
Right.
But if you're constantly worried about your battery dying, it can really take away from the whole experience.
Absolutely. Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. There's this new service called BeeCharged EV. They're calling themselves the first elite mobile EV charging auto club, specifically designed for Arizona.
Okay.
And honestly, it sounds pretty cool. It could be a real game changer for EV owners here.
It really does. And what's interesting about them is that they're not just another roadside assistance company. They're actually trying to build a whole mobile EV charging infrastructure that covers the entire state. And that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, so today we're going to take a deep dive into what BeeCharged EV is all about, what they're offering, and how they plan to address the challenges of owning and driving an EV in Arizona.
Sounds good.
So let's start by talking about the big problem here, range anxiety.
Yeah.
In a state as big and diverse as Arizona.
Well, you hit the nail on the head. We're not just talking about driving around city blocks here.
Yeah.
We're talking about those long hauls between Phoenix and Tucson, or, venturing off the beaten path to see some of Arizona's amazing natural wonders. Relying solely on those public charging stations can be a real hassle and sometimes even impossible.
Yeah, you map out your trip, you think you've got it all figured out, and then
Exactly.
what if the charger's broken or if someone's already using it?
Right. Or what if your plans change?
Exactly. What if you decide to take a detour or something?
Yeah, you're stuck.
Yeah, and that's when that anxiety kicks in, right? Like imagine you're driving to the Grand Canyon, you're so excited to get there, but the whole way you're just staring at that battery percentage, stressing about finding a charger.
Oh, absolutely.
It takes away from the whole experience.
Yeah, and that fear of getting stranded in the middle of nowhere with a dead battery, that's a huge barrier for people who are thinking about getting an EV, or even for tourists who might want to rent one.
Yeah, I can totally see that.
Yeah.
So it seems like BeeCharged EV is offering a pretty straightforward solution to this problem, mobile EV charging on demand.
That's right. They bring the charger to you wherever you are in Arizona.
Wow. So they're like the Uber of EV charging?
Exactly. And they use these high-capacity battery systems that can give you a pretty significant charge in a short amount of time.
So it's not just a little trickle charge. It's actually like a fast charge.
Right, like the level 2.
Or even faster.
Okay, so imagine you're driving to Sedona. You're on one of those beautiful scenic roads,
Yeah.
and suddenly that low battery warning pops up.
Oh, no.
What do you do? Or what if you're stuck in Phoenix traffic on a 100-degree day with the AC blasting and you realize you're not going to make it home?
That's a nightmare.
So how does BeeCharged EV actually work in those situations? What's their response time like?
Well, from what we've gathered, they have these rapid response teams with charging units strategically located all over Arizona,
Okay.
so they can get to you pretty quickly.
So it's like calling AAA, but instead of a tow truck,
Yeah.
you get a mobile charging unit.
Exactly. They call it emergency EV charging on demand across Arizona.
I like that. I mean, that would definitely ease the panic if you're ever in a situation like that.
Oh, absolutely. It's peace of mind knowing that help is just a phone call away. Okay, so it's not just a one-time service though, right? They have this elite auto club membership.
Right.
What's the point of that?
Well, it seems like they want to build a community around this service.
Okay.
And offer more than just emergency charging. It's like a VIP program for your EV.
So what kind of perks do you get with this membership?
Well, the biggest one is priority access to their services.
Okay, so if a bunch of people need charging at the same time,
Right.
members get bumped to the front of the line.
Exactly. And they really emphasize that worry-free EV ownership and travel in Arizona.
I can see how that would be a big selling point.
Yeah. Especially if you're someone who likes to explore those more remote parts of the state.
Okay, so we've established that Arizona is a huge state,
Yeah.
and BeeCharged EV is claiming to have extensive coverage across Arizona.
Right.
So what does that mean in practice? Where exactly do they operate?
Well, they say they cover all the major cities like Flagstaff, Tucson, Sedona, but they also cover key highways and even some of the more remote areas near popular tourist attractions and national parks.
So if you're in the mountains around Flagstaff or in the desert near Tucson,
Yep.
they've got you covered.
That's the idea. They want to be the go-to provider for mobile EV charging in Arizona, no matter where you are.
And they can even come to hotels, businesses, even those less traveled roads, as long as it's safe to access them.
Exactly. And they also mentioned that they're aware of Arizona's unique environmental challenges.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, Arizona's environment is definitely something to consider.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the membership sounds like it's more than just about getting a charge when you need it. They talk about this comprehensive EV support. What does that include?
Well, they're a little vague on the details right now,
Okay.
but they hint at some pretty cool stuff like potential partnerships with hotels, tourism boards, even outdoor recreation companies.
So like maybe get discounts on charging at certain hotels, or maybe they have special EV-only scenic routes planned out.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe they give you tips on how to maximize your battery range in Arizona's climate.
Interesting.
Yeah, they want to build a community around this. They want to make it more than just a service, it's like a lifestyle.
A supportive community for Arizona EV enthusiasts and adventurers.
That's their vision.
And, it's not just individual EV owners who are driving this shift towards electric vehicles.
Right.
We're seeing more and more businesses incorporating EVs into their fleets.
Absolutely, especially here in Arizona.
So how does BeeCharged EV cater to those businesses?
Well, they offer customized mobile charging solutions specifically for fleets.
Okay, so they can charge a whole fleet of vehicles at once.
Exactly. And they can do it at hotels, airports, tourist destinations, wherever those businesses need them.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean,
Yeah.
those businesses need to keep their EVs running smoothly. They can't afford to have them sitting around waiting for a charge.
Exactly. And BeeCharged EV helps them minimize downtime and maximize efficiency.
So it's a win-win for everyone.
That's the idea.
Now, BeeCharged EV is really claiming to be at the forefront of developing this mobile EV infrastructure in Arizona.
Right.
What's their plan to actually make that happen?
Well, they're investing heavily in advanced charging technology,
Okay.
and they're rapidly expanding their network of service vehicles across the state.
They really want to be the leader in this space, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. They're aiming to set the standard for convenience, speed, reliability, customer service, the whole 9 yards.
They call it the Arizona EV charging ecosystem.
Yeah, that was their term.
So let's bring it back to those unique challenges we talked about earlier. Those vast distances, the extreme temperatures, the limited charging infrastructure in some areas.
Right.
How does BeeCharged EV's model address those challenges specifically?
Well, their whole model is built around overcoming those challenges.
Right.
They're not relying on you to find a charging station. They bring the charging station to you.
That's like having a personal charging concierge.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a huge safety net, especially in those remote areas where chargers are few and far between.
So for you listening, what's the big takeaway here? How does BeeCharged EV change the game for EV ownership and travel in Arizona?
Well, I think the biggest thing is peace of mind.
Okay.
You don't have to worry about running out of charge in the middle of nowhere. You don't have to constantly check your battery percentage. You can just relax and enjoy the ride.
And that peace of mind applies to everyone,
Yeah.
right? EV owners, business owners, tourists.
Absolutely. It makes owning and driving an EV in Arizona a lot more appealing.
Yeah, it gives you the freedom to go wherever you want, whenever you want, without that range anxiety holding you back.
Exactly. And that's a pretty powerful thing.
So if you're interested in learning more about BeeCharged EV and their membership options, where can people go?
Their website is the best place to start. It's www.beecharged.com.
Okay, and we'll be sure to include that link in the show notes as well.
Perfect.
Their message is, don't let range anxiety limit your exploration. Join the BeeCharged EV Auto Club and experience the freedom of worry-free EV driving.
I like that.
Become a BeeCharged EV member today and say goodbye to the stress of finding a charge when you need it most, so you can focus on enjoying everything Arizona has to offer.
It's a pretty compelling pitch.
So, in wrapping up our deep dive, it seems like BeeCharged EV is trying to solve a real problem for EV owners in Arizona.
Yeah.
They're offering a service that could really change the way people think about driving electric vehicles in a state that's known for its wide open spaces and sometimes unpredictable conditions.
Absolutely. And it makes you wonder how services like this could change the EV landscape in other parts of the country.
Right. I mean, could we see more mobile charging companies popping up in states with similar challenges?
It's definitely a possibility and something worth keeping an eye on.
It's an exciting time to be an EV owner, that's for sure.
It really is.
And on that note, we'll wrap things up for today, but we want to hear from you.
Yeah.
Do you think a service like BeeCharged EV would make you more likely to consider an EV or to take those longer road trips you've always dreamed of?
Let us know your thoughts.
Until next time, happy driving.
And stay charged.